In this day and age, one of the longest running and biggest JRPG series out there is the Atelier franchise. And while I'm not the biggest fan out there, I have played and enjoyed my fair share of these games. But when people ask me where to start with this series, I don't even know what to say. There are so many of them, it's crazy. I can't keep up with these games. But okay, I'll do this for you. I'll try my best, I'll give it my all. Where to start with the Atelier franchise, in my opinion. Let's begin! So the Atelier series started back in 1997 with Atelier Marie, The Alchemist of Salzburg for the PlayStation. As you may have guessed, it was released only in Japan. Over there it got plenty of love, which helped Gust into converting their little idea into a full trilogy. And so the series was successful enough to keep going forever until today, with the upcoming release of Atelier Ryza 2. Currently, there are over 20 main titles and several spin-offs or side stories. In total, almost 40 Atelier games in existence. And I'm not even counting the many ports and remakes of like half of them. According to Wikipedia, there have been 22 main games in the Atelier franchise, which are subdivided into 7 sub-series. There are 3 games in the Salzburg series, 2 games in the Gramnat series, 3 games in the Iris series, 2 games in the Manakimia series, 4 games in the Arland series, 3 games in the Dusk series, and 3 games in the Mysterio series. Okay. So where the hell are you supposed to start within this cutesy infrastructure of alchemic insanity? If you're looking for a traditional entry, I strongly recommend the Iris trilogy. Eternal Mana and the Assault of Destiny are great JRPGs that don't focus on the alchemy or gathering like the other games. Of course there's some of that too, but it's not the main dish. They're story-driven, which means you'll be taken linearly from point A to point B without time limits or required synthesis. Classic turn-based RPGs, characters on one side of the screen and enemies on the other. These games are challenging, alright, but not hard at all. I personally recommend the second game as I thought it was more refined on every area. Grand Phantasm, the third game, is the same, but that one's quest-driven. If you play it, you'll start noticing it was trying to go back to the original Atelier formula that started back with Atelier Marie. Anyway, about these 3 games, they're slightly connected but mostly only through Iris. She's in all 3 games older than before. Other than that, I barely noticed any connections whatsoever, as if they were taking place on different places, obviously each with their own story, characters and whatnot, which means you don't need to play one to understand the other. There's also Manakimia 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 2 as well. First one got a port to the PSP with some small issues here and there, but it's still a great version to play. Second one was ported to the PSP as well, but only in Japan. These games, however, revolve around quests too, but there's a linear story embracing everything, although I do believe the gathering and the alchemy stuff was mandatory for several parts of the game. One thing that stands out is that they take place in a school, which means your characters will be students. No, it won't play like Persona at all, so don't worry, but you'll notice some similarities here and there. It's as if you were playing Atelier Persona, or something like that. I felt the first one to be hotter than any other Atelier game out there, but maybe that's just me. Second one is better because you can play with 2 different characters with their different party members. I thought that was awesome. Anyway, these 2 games are also a good entry as they still play in a more traditional way, but don't forget they also lean somewhat often on the popular Atelier formula. So now we've reached this point, where to start with that classic formula I was talking about. If you're still here, that means you do find appealing a quest-driven game with tons of alchemy, gathering and synthesis. That's where almost every single other Atelier game comes in. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a lot of them, and I mean a lot. Honestly though, most of them play almost exactly the same. They even have very similar humor, stories, and character tropes. One game is a complete reenactment of the other, almost as if they were remaking them over and over. Not that that's a bad thing or anything, but it truly leads me to believe you might as well just start with any of them. Are they connected? Oh, so that's what you really want to know, huh? As you may have guessed, they all come in trilogies most of the time, like little sagas for so to say. And yes, one is a sequel to the other, but each has its own characters, plot, and location. However, they seem to take place within the same universe, so you often see interactions between characters from one game and its predecessor. First trilogy following the original formula that we got was the Arland trilogy on the PS3, also available on the Vita and Switch nowadays. These games though, they have a time limit, which means if you don't complete the required quests within a certain period of time, you'll get a bad grade, keep failing, and you'll reach a bad ending. This stressed out a lot of people, even though I personally never felt any real pressure. I mean, they do give you a lot of time to complete all the required quests. I actually recommend starting with this trilogy, but if the timer bugs you that much, skip all the way to the Mysterious trilogy, because Arland and the one that came after, with the exception of the third game, Shally, have time limits as well. You can jump in with Shally if you want to, but at this point, it really doesn't matter which one you start with. I've played almost every one of them and I guarantee they're all just as fun. Maybe ones are slightly better than others, but the difference isn't that much. Even Atelier Annie on the DS is fun, although that one does feel like a mobile version of, well, any of the others. But it's easy, charming, and still great, so it might be a good entry for you. Who knows? I guess a lot of people will obviously tell you to start with Atelier Ryza, which is the most recent one, and there's another one coming up very soon, so maybe it's a good idea, but I don't know, this game's battle system isn't exactly traditional, it's more like real-time turn-based, similar to Final Fantasy 13. In my opinion, it might not be a good idea, but then again, it might be a good idea, because when it comes to this series, whatever, right? Just pick whatever game, whatever Atelier game you see out there, and start with that one. It doesn't really matter. They're all the same! Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. Probably. And if you didn't, check out the comment section. I'm pretty sure somebody out there will help you better than me. Or maybe another YouTuber, right? Because like I said before, I'm not the biggest Atelier fan. But as you can see, I've played a lot of them. Oh yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends, if you think it was useful. See you next time!